G'day everyone and welcome back to Star Seeds Down Under. Thank you for joining me today on my awesome channel and helping it grow. If you can, as I said just down below, give us a quick like and share if you can, just to help the video get out past the algorithms, because with disclosure amping up right now and everything happening the way it is and moving as forward and fast as it is right now, it's very important to remember to actually help the videos get out to wider audiences through YouTube's algorithms, just by doing that simple little act of giving us a quick like and a quick share. It gets the video out to a wider audience and stops YouTube from pretty much me growing. And that comes down to all of you. So thank you for being able to do that for me. And thank you for joining us for Stargate, SG-1 and Atlantis, all truth in plain sight. We're going to be covering the ancient chair, secret labs and more, all in plain sight. And I thought it was only my moral obligation and duty and responsibility and duty of care, if you will, to be able to back Elena, Danaan and Dr. Salla's recent statements up on his recent interview that he did with her, I think it was the other day, in relation to the Bucegi mountain complex, where there's a certain section within the video around about the 26-minute mark, where Dr. Salla and Elena briefly touch on Stargate, SG-1 and Atlantis TV series, all being basically soft disclosure, and that there are golden nuggets, as Elena put it, all throughout the series, okay? And what I thought it would be pertinent for me to do is to give everyone a little bit of a visual reference as such, as a basic example, as to how much truth is in plain sight within these TV franchises, and specifically more so the weapons chair, from Elena's disclosure that she's given us about seeing a very, what she described as being a replica chair is on the actual TV set of the series. It looks identical to what she's seen upstairs on the ships, with her being up there, okay? And she has actually gone on the record and said that this particular chair in the series franchise is an identical replica to what has been seen by her own eyes upstairs. So thank you to Dr. Salla and Elena for this awesome interview and presentation in relation to the ancient Anunnaki laboratory up in Romania and the Bucegi mountain complex underneath the Carpathian Sphinx. That is underneath this particular complex, this complex here. This is just a diagram found in Bucegi Mountain Complex, okay, which is a facility up inside the mountains, okay? And the Sphinx itself is a very weather and wind and rain eroded object that looks very, very similar to what we call the Sphinx in Egypt. When you look at this Carpathian Sphinx on top of the Bucegi Mountains, it very much has a similar resemblance to the Sphinx of Egypt, okay? But also in the area is many, many different, what I would call ancient carvings as well, that are made of stone, some of the hardest stone on the planet, but yet scientists like to explain this away as being just wind and weather erosion to create these certain shapes. Now, some of these are created in the shape of elephants, frogs, giraffes, all sorts of different animal creatures that are on the planet, okay, right now. And considering that the stones or rocks themselves are actually made in these forms, I do believe, by higher groups of individuals from upstairs, okay, and that it's near the facility complex in the surrounding area, shows me the creativity and the inspiration that these beautiful creators had, these Anunnaki these Anunnaki scientists, that they actually went and carved these things in stone so that they would be remembered as, if you will, a marker leading to the Bucegi mountain complex, letting people know that you're on the right path and that this is an area in where we created quite a lot of the animals that are here populated on this planet. I mean, just think about it. You take one genome of one monkey and you mix it with something else, and you can get a whole different set of monkeys, okay, from that. Orangutans, chimpanzees, spider monkeys, you name it. You can adjust the genome accordingly to make a different species of that one from that original species. Okay, it's not hard to think about, but these sorts of things do exist, and the fact that they've gone and touched base on this Bucegi mountain complex and all that's in there with the holographic table and everything, I think it was, being a lab, I think it was very much pertinent for me to respond in such a way, showing you visually as such things that have actually been done already in Stargate SG-1 in the past. Now, one particular episode in the past that I just absolutely love, okay, is one called, I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I actually can't remember the name of it. The Torment of Tantalus. That's the name of the actual show, okay? But I'll get into that later. But first is actually the chair that I would love to show you first is a picture of, okay? Here we go. This is the actual photo replica of the chair that Elena has gone on record and said is an actual replica of what she's seen upstairs on the ships during her tour or being in the presence of her contact, Thorhan. Isn't that a beautiful design chair? And first thing, like the funny thing is that I showed my mother these things yesterday, talking to her about how we're going with disclosure and how we're moving forward, because my mum's curious. She wants to be med-bedded too. She wants to be young as well. Who doesn't? Okay, but the first thing she said when she saw this chair, who's not even familiar with anything that we talk about, first thing she came out with, she said, that's based on crystal technology, isn't it? And I said, wow, Mum, how did you guess that? And she's just like looking at it. I could just see it. I was like, Mum, you have more going on inside your genes and genetic memory going on than you want to give yourself credit for. The fact that you identify with something like that and know that it runs on crystal technology and is based off crystal technology and looks like it's made from crystal. Yeah. I said, Mum, you're right on the money, eh? I said, it has crystal elements all throughout the chair. Absolutely. That interact with the body. I said, it also has gel components where the hands, like a nano gel. I said, it's like that for the hands, and it actually interacts with the thought controls or thought processes of the brain and neural interactions, sending signals, and basically those thought impulses influenced through the chair can react with what you're doing. It can actually launch weapons. It can do whatever. It can guide the ship through hyperspace tunnels just through thought control. You can bring up holographic displays of star maps, all illustrated beautifully in this beautiful TV show. I kid you not, everyone. Now, this is the Atlantis city that's depicted in the actual TV series, for those of you that aren't familiar with it. Okay, it's a beautiful city. Okay, it's just like Plato had described, not described, that it was, as Plato did describe, that it was under the water, that it had sunk in the ocean. But in this particular series, it's sunk under the ocean on a different planet out in the Pegasus galaxy, which Elena has also gone on record for saying that this is actually a visible constellation, okay? That these have actually been going on out there and all around us, and that this TV show series, SG-1 and Atlantis, are full of golden nuggets and filled with truth. This particular ship has a star drive. It's activated via thought control. They run by ZPM, which is 0 point module, 0 point energy. Get it? Yeah, that's what I mean. There's so much golden nuggets, truth bombs, mic drop moments in these TV shows. And when you look back at the dates that these particular shows are made, you got to ask yourself, how the heck did they know and get it so right? How did they get it so right? It's because they were basing a lot of their information, I do believe, wholeheartedly within myself, through declassified mission briefs that were allowed to be shared with the Screenwriters Guild to somewhat degree. And these writers, screenplay writers, script writers, were able to, because we know that CIA has good factions and bad factions throughout Hollywood, okay? Giving us truth in plain sight, always, okay? And that's the way it's always been. It's just up to a discernful eye and a discernful mind and open heart and open eyes to see these things, okay? But they've always done it. Sorry, I've got a little itch in my eye, okay? And I believe that this TV show has been there and put together specifically as a purpose for us to look back on as in future reference, looking back as past, hence the saying, future proves past, okay? That's a Q saying, okay, from cyber military intelligence. Okay, future will prove past. Everything that they're doing right now has been proven shown in shows, TV franchises, series. This series particularly started out, 1997, Stargate SG-1, and it lasted with Atlantis right up until 2007, 2009, I think. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Leave the comments down below if you can, and correct me if you can in relation to that. But how did they get it so right? You have to ask yourself. Did they base their information off debrief mission information? Or did they have specifically placed people within certain franchises, like Bradley Cooper and Brad Wright, the producers and directors and writers of the original movie, who were heavily involved all the way throughout the series production as well? You have to ask yourself, are Bradley Cooper and Bradley Wright, I question everything, are they really white hats placed within this franchise to give us truth? I ask. They may come off as decent, normal human beings, but are they really are they really agents on behalf of the white hats? Okay, on behalf of the white hats, throwing out truth in plain sight through a very popular franchise, like many other franchises, like Star Trek, Star Wars. These three franchises are the most, by far, popular franchises from anywhere in the world. Star Wars, Stargate, and Star Trek. They've got some of the biggest cult followings in the world. And why? It's because every one of us out here that are fans of these franchises always find a piece of ourselves within any one of the characters and storylines that are being portrayed on the screen. We always find a piece of ourselves because we identify. And that's the beauty of taking the journey together with these franchises, because when you've got an open heart, you take in this beauty, the wonder, the awe that they're wanting to share, the information, the intel, okay, in such a way that when you connect with it and then looking at the stuff that we're doing online and looking back on it in the past and go, oh my God, I've been trying to put this out there for ages, that Stargate and SG-1 and Atlantis are all based on truth. And here we are today, this week, completely had a full mic drop moment where Elena and Dr. Salla have actually said it, that it is a full 100% soft disclosure, and that there are golden nuggets all the way through it. So I'm going to continue on with dropping some of those golden nuggets and showing you a little bit more right now. Just a couple of photos, and then I'm going to get onto some videos that I want to show you as visual reference from the TV series so that you can get a better idea and even be inspired to maybe go and purchase the DVDs for yourself or go watch them online. Okay, but this one here is particularly called The Torment of Tantalus. Okay, now this particular planet that the SG-1 team go to was discovered earlier back in the 1940s by another earlier team that was working on the gate trying to make it work during the 1940s. And Catherine Langford's character, who was the elderly lady who discovered Daniel Jackson's character in the first movie, okay, was an old woman in this present day and age. But this particular episode shows her in her young years as a 21-year-old woman and her partner being actively involved on the gate program. And back then, they're actually trying to dial the gate by hand. Yeah, I know. There's no computer hooked up to it. They're moving each one of these things on the big dialing sequence all the way around by hand until they actually find the right glyph or star map, and then they hit the electrical button, the circuit breaker, to lock in that particular address. Okay, and they do this for 7 symbols. So imagine how long it would take to dial a gate. Yeah, that's crazy. But what happens is that her partner goes through the gate once they activate it eventually in an old diver suit, those big bell housing things with the windows all the way around, okay, with the big diver boots they used to have back in the 1940s and 50s, okay, or probably even earlier, the 30s and 20s, okay. He went down and went through the gate in this, and once went through, the gate deactivated and his air hoses were cut off. So when he's gone through the gate on the other side, he's obviously found himself at this place here. And inside this building is a Stargate with a DHD, dial home device. Okay. And what he finds from being caught there for nearly 70 years is that this place is a repository of information from 4 particular star races that leave a treasure trove. It's greater than the Library of Alexandria, if you will. As it says in the title, it would take more than a lifetime to do, to get through it all and understand it. This is a photo just from one of the scenes where you can see protons, electrons, all sorts of different molecular structures in their basic elemental forms, okay, in these up in the roof area being projected by this little holographic projector in the center of the room down here, okay, and everyone's standing around it. And as you touch the gold dot in the center of it, or the gold crystal, each time you touch it, it changes the page and shows you different elements in their basic form, or if you will, forming a language as well, broken down in its basic form. Very smart, isn't it? Very smart and very intelligent to be able to break something down to its basic elemental form and still be a language at the same time. I'm going to show you how this was done in the videos, plus more in a few minutes. Okay, we've also got another sort of lab that is depicted. This is just two of possibly 9 or 10 different labs that have got different experiments going on throughout the Stargate franchise, of Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis over the periods of years that it was on TV, okay? 9 to roughly 10 different labs over all those seasons showing different either medical, genetic, or repositories of information, okay, that have been left behind by the ancients, okay, or even the dark ones using ancient labs for genetic manipulation as well. That's later shown in Stargate Atlantis more so, okay? But this lab here, Janus Lab, is discovered by Daniel Jackson and Rodney McKay's characters in Stargate Atlantis in the lower levels after a flood, when they've actually released the water from the lower levels and found by accident a secret room. And these 3 lights here are hit in a sequence or order, if you will, to create a cymatic sound, okay? And it takes trial and error for the guys to figure out exactly, because, I mean, like, you look at it, you got 3 combinations. It's only so many different multiples that until you get the right combination to get the right sound or tone. And what this thing does is when it creates the right tone, it changes the molecular density of the wall so that they can pass straight through to a secret lab that's behind this wall. Once the frequency sound stops, the molecular density goes back to its original atomic structure, okay, and becomes a solid wall again, hence making it a secret room that no other Atlanteans were able to find, not even the Council. This particular room was being used to create a weapon called the Enteris weapon, okay, which is a weapon that targets Wraith cruisers and Wraith starships and Wraith personnel, okay, destroying and obliterating them. But what the adverse effects of this particular weapon is that the Janus Project weren't aware of, were aware of and ended up shutting down, is that whilst targeting Wraith cruisers, etc., that were on the attack, what it would do is also any gates that were active at the time with people traveling between worlds to do trade or whatever, or just doing whatever, those gates would actually explode, and furthermore cutting off worlds from each other from having intergalactic trade with each other. Because, I mean, in these series, they show that all different worlds who have access to gates throughout the network in that sort of galaxy have access to each other and are intergalactically, interplanetarily trading with each other. Isn't that wonderful? My gosh. You know, it's just all truth in plain sight. You know, it's just so much that we can see throughout all these series and franchises. It just gives us so much. Same as Star Trek. There's so much. I believe now that Star Trek, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, Star Trek, Discovery, and Strange New Worlds that have come out, I believe right now are in alignment with where our space navy currently, presently are, with what we have going on upstairs, not in relation to the design of ship, such as the Enterprise of Discovery, but the technology okay, that's behind the holographics, quantum teleportation pads, as well as personal teleportation badges, okay, that has holographic tricorders, a full holographic interaction with it, okay. It regulates your temperature and all your bio signatures coming off your EV suits, they call them, EV suits, okay, which is emergency vehicle suit, because it actually can be used as a vehicle as well as a pressure suit to keep you protected from the environment of space. Okay, that's all nanotech as well. They hit a certain button, just like they did in Stargate, with the big Horus helmets and Anubis warrior god helmets. They hit a button on the side of their helmet, and these things folded back into each other into a neck collar. Okay, well, the same thing is done in Star Trek. Okay, they hit a button on their armor, okay, and the helmet, and all of it folds back into itself. It's unbelievable. They're also got directional thrusters on the jetpack as well, which allows you to be a vehicle and steer you and direct you in zero gravity. That's why they call it EV suit. Okay, but getting back to Stargate, okay, I'm going to now show everyone, for your personal pleasure, just some visual references from the TV show that I've gone and searched out on YouTube, just to show you all. Now, these videos only go for a few seconds, or not a few seconds, but a few minutes each. But I want you to just all sit back, relax right now, and just enjoy some of the visual referencing that you're going to see in these episodes. But at the end, there's also a great golden nugget that I'm going to show everyone as well, that aligns perfectly with information that Dr. Salla and Elena put out over a year ago, okay, which has happened in the future, and this particular episode depicts it in 2007, which also, again, future proves past. Okay, I love this stuff, man. I love this stuff. But getting on with the show, everyone, I'm going to bring to the stage right now Colonel Jack O'Neill and Major John Shepard in the first episode, season 1, episode 1 of Stargate Atlantis, the first 4 minutes roughly, so that you can enjoy for yourself the weapons chair that's being used in Antarctica from the weapons platform left behind by the ancients when they took the Atlantis city via hyperspace tunnel back to the Pegasus galaxy. Enjoy, everyone. I'll see you all after these videos.
Apache, Blackhawk, Cobra, Osprey. It's a lot of training for the Antarctic. It was the one continent I never set foot on. It's one of my least favorite continents. I kind of like it here. You like it here? Yes, sir. Be there in about 10 minutes, sir.
Look, we've been through this. I'm not your man.
Keep moving.
I'm a doctor, a medical doctor.
There's nothing to be afraid
You
of.
don't understand. I break things like
This
this.
device has survived for millions of years intact. It will survive you. Now sit down, close your eyes, and concentrate.
His eccentricity. So funny. I love it.
Again, nothing.
This time, just try to imagine an image of where we are in the solar system.
I think I feel something. It could be lunch related.
Shut up and concentrate.
Here we go. Thought controlled, DNA based connection. Use consciousness control.
What did I do?
Full exploration circle.
Get us back down there!
All inbound craft, we have a rogue drone that can seek a target on its own. Land immediately and shut down your engines. This is not a drill. I repeat, it's too late. Hang on. Break right.
I told you I was the wrong person.
It doesn't matter now, just do something.
Like what?
Carson, concentrate on shutting that weapon down before it hurts someone.
can't see it. Pull up. Pull up. What about now? Now's good. Shut it down. Sure. What the hell was that? Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Get out!
I think I did it.
That was different. For me, not so much.
Major Shepard is reporting the drone appears to have been incapacitated. General O'Neill's helicopter is unharmed and on its way again. 7 minutes out.
Thank God. Crap.
Jack, Daniel.
Warm welcome. Wasn't me. How'd you manage to
Keep my ass from getting blown out of the sky? The exceptional flying of Major John Shepard. He likes it here.
exceptional? You like it here?
Let's say we cut to the part where you start talking real fast.
Okay. So here's the next video. Carson Beckett explaining to Major John Shepard how the chair works and how consciousness and DNA are connected to that. Enjoy.
I think the gene was used as a sort of genetic key, if you will, so that only their kind could operate certain dangerous or powerful technologies.
So some people have the same genes as these ancients.
The specific gene is very rare, but on the whole, they look very much like we do. In fact, they were first. We're the second evolution of this form. The ancients having explored this galaxy for millions of years before. Major, please do it.
Come on, what are the odds of me having the same genes as these guys?
Quite slim, actually. Dr. Weir, don't move.
Did you like that? So I mean, he's a bit of a skeptic. He's only just first been introduced to all of this information, didn't know about the gates, the ancients, the what, everything under the ice. He didn't know a thing. He's just a complete normie. And then all of a sudden he finds out that he's got this ancient gene in his DNA that actually allows him to connect naturally without thinking about it to this ancient technology that he's just been introduced to through Carson Beckett's character. And as you heard, he said, what are the odds of me having this gene? Like everyone, and Carson Beckett's response is quite rare, actually. And as you saw, the chair instantly activated, whereas Carson's character had to use his mind to concentrate to get his consciousness to connect. Even though he has the DNA genetic marker himself, it's not as present or as strong as John Shepard's character, which makes him a valuable mission asset. Yes, skill sets that some of us have got that are being utilized for off-world operations. Yeah, that's what I mean. I actually got a confirmation of that this morning from Danny in a live chat whilst I was listening to her beautiful video that she just put out. And I asked Danny directly because Tony left a very beautiful statement that actually made me realize this morning how much I'm possibly being utilized for myself, for off-world operations. Okay. And I asked Danny straight out, is there a good possibility that some of us, because of our certain skill sets, okay, are being utilized for off-world operations still to this day? I felt like this, as Tony's statement on screen I felt like this for years, as Tony's statement just said, which is where you wake up feeling groggy, you're feeling very tired, even though you've had good sleep, etc., etc. You know that you're just not all there in the morning, and like you feel like you've run a marathon wearing a 30-40 kilo pack, okay, and you've run uphill and every muscle group in your body is completely ripped and sore, but you have no explanation for it, but yet you know full well that you haven't done any of those sorts of activities and went to bed not feeling sore the night before. How is it that you wake up feeling like that the next morning? Because you're being utilized, not physically, but you're actually carrying back into the physical self anything that you might have actually been exposed to. And if it's exerted muscular fatigue, you're going to carry that back into your body. That's why you feel so groggy, and your head just not all there in the morning. And Danny confirmed it. She said, absolutely. Absolutely. Apparently so, Chris. You know, so for me, that's a bit of a confirmation that some of us out here in the community, whether we realize it or not, are actually being tapped and utilized for off-world operations. I mean, kind of makes sense as to why I've got flying, you know, white cloud-like triangles above my house twice in the last 3 years, okay? Going on 3 years now, okay? 2 TR-3Bs in cloud-like form above my house complex in the last 2 to 3 years now, okay? I'm being signaled, okay, saying it's all right, we got you. Okay? I do believe that wholeheartedly now, and I'm going on record and saying that finally, after what I've heard this morning Tony say, and having a confirmation from Danny, and that validation from my curious question, and knowing how I feel, and knowing what I've seen in these shows, and learning from all of these beautiful people, whistleblowers, and courageous, awesome individuals coming forth in our community, telling us about their experiences out there. How is it that all of us can identify with a lot of what they're saying inside ourselves? We all can't be wrong. So obviously some of us have been exposed to it. And so I'm actually going on record finally and saying that I've actually been on ops and quite well been utilized for operations because of certain skill sets, such as my empathy and my telepathic skills, okay, where I connect, okay. These are skill sets that are highly regarded within the SSP for being able to communicate and connect with non-verbal vocal groups that use only telepathy. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm not telepathic physically as such. I can't sit there and get into someone's mind. I'm not going to sit there and go on record and bullshit and say that I can do something that I can't, like others that are out there in the community right now. There are other people talking that bullshit. Okay, I won't ever do that because I'm not going to sit there and shoot myself in the foot doing it. Okay, but obviously in the background, okay, I've obviously always had a very connectedness to other things. Okay, and I've always thought to myself, is this a form of telepathy where I've been able to connect with things on a far deeper level? And I've always been able to get responses or reactions at those moments to a degree. And I've always thought to myself, that's very strange because other people don't have that. I don't see that with my sister or nephews or nieces or anything like that, or let alone other people. Okay, but obviously these sorts of underlying skill sets that are there, not fully present in the present, okay, because I haven't obviously worked on them enough to be in the present, are being utilized for operations, as many of you would be as well. And as Danny has confirmed that this morning too. So, and I trust Danny's word because Danny is in the know and she knows a lot of good people that have gone on record and said very similar things, mate. So anyway, let's get on with the next video. That was John Shepard. This one is the next video that I'd like to share. Okay, now this is actually from the Torment of Tantalus. Okay, now so we're going to see a bit of information here that's kind of going to blow you away. Okay, it's very similar to what we're seeing coming out of the reports or hearing of the reports coming out in relation to Bucegi Mountain Complex and what's inside. A holographic table that allows you to create different, strains of animal or beings. Okay, well, this particular holographic technology shows language and everything that we know to be true and physical throughout the known universe of reality, broken down to its basic elemental form, and still can be used as a language to convey the amount of information that can be conveyed this way is infinite in every way. But I'm going to go and play this for you all to enjoy right now. What are the languages?
What is this place?
You've got Rune, Norse.
I believe this room is some sort of meeting place where 4 alien races, denoted by the symbols and distinctive writing on the walls, would gather, possibly to share knowledge or discuss relations like a United Nations of the Stars. Catherine agrees.
You're right. I would have.
This was done in
All roads seem
2007.
to lead here, which means this is likely the power source.
I believe you are correct.
It could take years to figure out how to put these crystals back properly. But I think we might be able to figure out some way to rig the power source directly to the gate and then dial in manually.
This looks familiar.
Touch it.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
I like
Daniel?
Child
Does this mean anything?
trying to stand.
Well, if this was a mecca of sorts, an alien United Nations, this has to mean something. I know this.
Of course. High school chemistry.
1 proton, 1 electron.
Yep.
Hydrogen.
Rhythm. Sodium.
Silver, iron, barium, xenon.
Oh my God. So many electrons. How can you tell?
I've been here a very long time, remember?
Excuse me. Are you saying that all of these are atomic things?
These images are the graphical representations of the basic elements, electrons revolving around a proton, the number of electrons indicating the element.
146.
I don't apologize.
There are currently only 111 elements on the periodic table.
Only 90 when I last looked.
This is incredible. I mean, we've only been able to speculate on the actual appearance and structure of an atom. The fact that 4 completely alien races chose to represent it visually in an almost identical way.
The basic elements are what make up the universe. They are the basic building blocks.
Wait till the mic drop.
Of course! How do you ensure universal communication? You reduce the method of communication to the most basic elements common to everyone and everything that exists in the universe. Jack, this is a true universal language.
Oh, gets you excited. Isn't that beautiful?
Turn the page. What? Turn the page.
Are you saying that this is like a book?
I tried to read it. I tried to understand.
146 elements, letters or word symbols. If they're letters, if they're pictographic, I mean, this could take a lifetime.
What?
More.
He's been there his whole life.
Sorry.
Sorry, sir. That's what I mean. Unbelievable. So I'm going to take you to the next video now. You're going to love this one. This is from season 1, episode 1 of SG-1. That last video just then was season 1, last episode of season 1. Okay, I know it's back to front, but you're going to love this. I had it done like this for a reason. Okay, reason why I did it is because I wanted to show you the different forms of the labs. Okay, that was just one. I've told you about the other one, Janus. I won't show you visually. I can leave that for you, so we'll go and check out for yourself in the seasons of Atlantis. And I also showed you the weapons chair. Now I'm just going to go back to SG-1 at the beginning, so you can get a better idea of how the gate itself and how it works, the addresses, and how intergalactic civilizations would also account for stellar drift or Doppler shift, okay, and how these gates are all interconnected and how they only knew up until that moment, until Daniel Jackson reveals to them that there was only one gate between Earth and Abydos. But in fact, there are a network of gates throughout the Milky Way galaxy and other galaxies throughout our universe. Check this out. You're going to love this.
So I figured that there had to be more to this place, so I started exploring. Just the area around the town and the pyramid at first, and after about a month, I found this place. Captain Doctor, you're gonna love this.
First movie reading and writing was
This is amazing.
places like this
This is the archaeological find of the century.
covered up and
Daniel, you got a chance to translate this yet?
I think so.
What's it say?
Well, it doesn't say anything. Actually, it's sort of a chart, more of a map.
Of?
Well, I haven't been able to analyze all of it. I mean, look at it. It would take my whole life.
Well, Daniel, we don't have that long. What's it a map of?
Well, the cartouches seem to be separated clearly into groupings. Each grouping is attached to the others with a series of lines, and each grouping of glyphs contains 7 symbols, so you can see where this is going, of course.
Tell us anyway.
All of the symbols are on the Stargate in the Abydos chamber. I've also managed to chart some of them in the Abydos night sky, or at least pretty close. Jack, I think that this is a map of a vast network of Stargates. Stargates that are all over the galaxy.
I don't think that can be, Doctor.
here we go.
Why not?
Well, because after Colonel O'Neill and his team came back, my team tried hundreds of symbol permutations using Earth as the point of origin, and it never worked.
Well, I tried the same here, and it didn't work either. But I figured the destinations I tried are either destroyed or buried. But, I mean, some of them somewhere must still exist.
I don't think so.
Then where did your raw lookalike come from? Look, I don't pretend to know anything about astrophysics, but couldn't the planets change? I mean, drift apart or something like that to throw this map off?
I knew I'd like you.
You mean I'm right?
According to the expanding universe model, all bodies in the universe are constantly moving further apart.
So in the thousands of years since the Stargate was built,
All the coordinates could have changed.
but why does it still work between Abydos and Earth?
Well, Abydos is probably the closest planet in the network to Earth. I mean, the closer they are, the less the difference in relative position due to expansion. The further away, the greater the difference. In a few thousand more years, it won't work between Earth and Abydos either.
Unless you can adjust for the displacement.
Right, now with this map as a base, that should be easy. All we have to do is correct for Doppler shift. Then I should be able to arrive at a computer model that will predict the adjustments necessary to get the gate working again.
Okay, so what did we just figure out?
Any civilization advanced enough to build this gate network would be able to compensate for 50,000 years of stellar drift.
So the Stargate can go other places.
The aliens could have come from anywhere.
Unbelievable. I know. Absolutely unbelievable. So you can only just imagine, I mean, like, if that's just a TV show, what if that is actually based on truth? What if that is actually what has been discovered out there? You got to ask questions, always. But the fact of they're talking about stellar drift, Doppler shift, advanced civilizations being able to compensate for these things over thousands of years of drifting apart. I think they got it so right. I don't think they couldn't have gotten it any better. I mean, how could you be so wrong? They couldn't be wrong, could they? They're talking about quantum mechanics there, all sorts of things, mate. And the fact that this has gone on for, well, SG-1 alone, 10 seasons. And then you've got 5 seasons of Atlantis as well. That's 15 seasons. Pity there's not 17. That would have been interesting because the number 17, we all know what that's attached to. And that would have been a really big clue for me, man. I would have just gone, yeah, that's gold. Yeah. But what I'm going to do is now I'm going to drop a really big truth bomb, okay? Now, I meant to put a couple of photos in here to show you all as well, but unfortunately, I forgot to do that before I started the record button, okay? But what I would like to show you now is one video that's from, I think it's season 10, not sure what episode, okay? But in this particular episode, what we see is future proving past once again. Now, this episode happened in 2007, okay? or 2007, I believe. Now, what happens is, well, actually, before I get to that, what I'd like to say is that as we all know, about a year and a little bit ago, we got reports from Dr. Salla and Elena that at Mount Raven Rock, I think it is up in north of Cheyenne Mountain Complex, which is a more secure, hardened facility. Okay, Elena got information that General Glenn Van Herk had been given the plan via Thor Han. Okay, now the fact that Thor Han was the one that gave this plan to General Glenn Van Herk to be rolled out, which is what we're seeing pretty much going on right now. I think it was over 2 years ago now, actually, to tell you the truth, about 2 years ago that this happened, nearly. Okay? But we see this plan rolling out in front of us right now. Well, I'd like to ask the audience to leave your comments below because I'm about to drop a truth bomb here, a mic drop moment. Because in this TV episode of Stargate SG-1, Season 10, we have Supreme Commander Thor of the Asgard fleet come into Stargate SG-1, teleport in on his actual chair that he uses from his ship. Okay? Now that's truth bomb number one. What I'd like to remind everyone is that in these shows, they like to invert or turn upside down or use a different form for the alien species that does not align with what we associate the name through what we know in our disclosure community. Thor Han, or I should say Thor of the Asgard fleet, Supreme Commander Thor of the Asgard fleet in this show, is depicted as a small 5 foot or 4 foot high alien grey. Yeah. You can see how Hollywood like to twist something and turn it upside down to confuse the audience, so that if in the future audience who are non-believers but just love the show come onto contact or information like we know, and then they find out about the name Thor, they're going to shit themselves and go, that's not possible because I associate that name with a grey because that's what I was taught from a TV show. Wrong. You're told to believe that from a TV show because they want to confuse you, so that when we come onto this information now, Thor Han Aredian giving these information and plans to General Glenn Van Herk of NORAD, Cheyenne Mountain Complex, okay, who's no longer actually in charge of NORAD anymore. There's a new general now, okay, can't remember his name. I've actually got to get that on the top of my head. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember it, sorry. But there is a new general now, okay. But what we see is how Hollywood have actually taken that name and twisted it and inverted it and used it and associated it with a grey alien that represents very similar to the Emertha, not the bad guy Nebu Greys that we know of. Okay, this particular grey looks almost like the Emertha Greys that I had interactions with as a child, who have been vetted as being Galactic Federation members, okay, via Dan Willis. He has confirmed that for me. Elena has confirmed that as well, is that the Emertha Greys, the guys that are little skinny guys, little greys that wear black jumpsuits with long sleeves, okay, it's a full one-piece suit, they are the Emertha Greys. E-M-E-R-T-H-E-R or E-M-Y-T-H-E-R. Emertha, okay? So you can see why Hollywood would do such a thing. I mean, if the good guys are in charge of Stargate SG-1, then I dare say that was done on purpose in order to not put too much truth in plain sight. You can't exactly, have a human beaming into SG-1. I mean, I would do it like that if I was the producer. I'd just do it. Just associate the name Thor with an actual human being who comes from a fleet of humans that are up there, and have just a mic drop moment, boom, in the show 2007, so that we can refer back to it as truth in plain sight with Thor seeing General Glenn Van Herk. Okay, but what they've done is, unfortunately, they've put a grey in there instead. Okay, and a Merthyr without his jumpsuit on, so he's basically naked. Okay, but they are very benevolent, very intelligent, very powerful, and all the stories that they use in regards to the Norse mythology, in regards to the Asgardians, all aligns with what we've been learning about, okay, all this time. So they're really throwing it out there, a lot of truth in plain sight. You know, Thor's hammer being a directed energy weapon, all that sort of stuff. It's all in it. You got to love this stuff. You got to love the show. But without further ado, I'm going to play this one last video for you now to enjoy. Check it out. Thor, Supreme Commander of the Asgard Fleet, depicted and presented as a grey, beaming in directly into Stargate headquarters for a meeting with military world leaders to decide on the fate of the gate and who controls it. Check this out. This is gold. Because if the gate's real, then we've been told by higher echelons upstairs that it should remain in the control of the United States. And if that's true, like it is in the show, if it's true in real life, then that means the gate is a real full program and has been in existence, like I've always thought, for a very long time now, for probably a better part of 30 years. So check this out. Enjoy, everyone. Is it going to come up? Okay, yes. Oh, now it wants to play an ad for me. How lovely. It's going to go and sit there and do this to me now. Yep.
However, I'm afraid I must take this matter back to my government and recommend full disclosure to our people.
I must do the same. Though I will admit Senator Kinsey's proposal is interesting.
Far out, God's sake. Stupid computer can't keep up with me. I need a more powerful computer.
Hello?
Hello. I am Thor, Supreme Commander of the Asgard Fleet.
Thank you for coming, Thor.
It is my pleasure, General Hammond. The Asgard are in your debt.
Your debt?
SG-1, under the command of General Hammond, has saved my people and yours on many occasions. We are not only allies against the Goa'uld, we are true friends.
Commander Thor, my name is...
Senator Kinsey. O'Neill suggested I send you to a distant planet for your actions here. But I am reasonably certain his statement was in jest.
I'm sure it was, Commander.
Supreme Commander. It is the opinion of the Asgard High Council that Stargate Command should be left in the very capable hands of General Hammond and his team. And while our continued friendship with Earth is not contingent on that, it is preferred.
You came all this way just to tell us that?
And to install Asgard-designed shields and weapons on Prometheus.
Upgrades!
A small token of thanks for SG-1's recent efforts in securing our galaxy and yours from certain destruction.
I see.
I hope I've been successful in convincing you. Good day, General Hammond.
Always a pleasure, Thor.
Always.
Please drop in any time.
Look at that.
Well,
teleport straight out of there, straight through the mountain.
That settles it then. You have our support, General.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Ours as well.
And the continued support of Russia.
Russia.
Much appreciated, sir.
But I still have my reservations. I believe my government will agree that, for the time being, the Stargate is in the right hands.
Senator?
I'll say this, General.
Well played.
Indeed. Someone called in a favor. So what do you think, everyone? bit of a truth bomb there in plain sight, and that was done in 2007. So basically what we see here to somewhat degree is soft disclosure and another plan rolling out within the plan. Don't you see it? I do. It takes a discerning eye, open heart, open mind to see this. There is a plan within a plan working right now, and it is beautiful. And I think that this is going to move in such a way forward in the next couple of months to the next, let's put a mark on this, July. I don't like to put dates out there, but let's say the month of July. 4th of July is Independence Day in America. Wouldn't that be awesome if we had a global Independence Day where we are free from the tyranny and the torment of the Draco Sakar regime and Lil's regime and overrule of this planet and the removal of the Nebu Grey? I believe that'd be a great time to celebrate on the 4th of July, because that 4th of July is a very important time to remember those that have sacrificed themselves on the altar of war that did not need to die. Instead of mourning, let's rejoice and celebrate and lift each other up. Make it global celebration day. Instead of 4th of July day, make it global celebration day. Who knows? I would love to see that happen in the future. I mean, by this time next year, November, I don't think a lot of us are going to really remember what the last one, we're going to remember, but we're not going to recognize the world. It's going to start changing in massive, beautiful ways very quickly. And the fact that these guys have been putting these truth bombs and golden nuggets out there since 1997, since the first episode, or actually 1994, if you will, since the first movie came out, it kind of really gives you inspiration to keep on believing and knowing full well that this is all coming about in our Star Trek future, and everything will be ours eventually. And we're working very hard towards it now. But to know that Thor was there in Cheyenne Mountain Complex, which is very much depicting what was relayed by Dr. Salla and Elena in regards to Thor Hana-Reddy and meeting with General Glenn Van Herk, that is a very visual representation of truth in plain sight, in a sense, of what actually played out in real life. Not that Thor looks like a grey. Oh, well, he does not. He is human. Okay? Everyone in our community knows that, but for those of you that are actually coming into this information, he is human by very definition. He is like us. We are like them. Okay? But it's just beautiful to know that this plan has been in play within the plan. I mean, because I see it. I see that there's so much truth. And I do believe that Bradley Wright and Brad Cooper wholeheartedly within myself, to a degree, have been placed strategically where they are to tell us these truths. Okay? But I implore all of you, go and check out these videos, these seasons of SG-1 and Atlantis. Go and check out Elena Danaan's latest with Dr. Salla on Exopolitics Today of the Ancient Anunnaki Laboratory, okay, in Romania at Bucegi Mountain Complex. I'll leave links in the description for you all. And I thank you all for joining me again today. Let's go out through the gate. Love you all. See you all next time.